Hola everyone, my name is Karla Solórzano and today we're talking about picking the right DJ for your event or wedding. And with me is DJ and MC Mario Morales. Hola Mario, welcome, bienvenido.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, Carla.
No, thank you for accepting the invitation. Mario, I always like to start the interview asking you how you started, how you became a DJ. Because, you know, for all of us in the creative industry is usually an interesting path, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit of that story.
Okay, well, I started DJing when I was in my late teens. I didn't have any equipment or any records or anything like that, but I was I knew people who had, so I would kind of play with their stuff. And eventually, once I'd be like around 2021, I bought my own equipment and I started DJing. And it was basically self-taught at that point because I was out of school. The people I knew that were DJing didn't live that close to me. So I was basically teaching myself how to DJ. And it was basically more like a hobby, like just for fun. I would DJ in my room. I was buying records, getting records wherever I can and stuff like that. And basically just doing it for fun as a hobby. So one time I had one of my birthdays, I like invited my friends, like, oh, I'm a DJ for you guys. And kind of like, that's kind of how the bar went, like, hey, I know you DJ, can you come DJ for my, and then basically those were like DJing for free. So I would go and DJ for free for other people. And then people were like, oh, you're good or whatever. And can you come DJ here? Can you come DJ there? And basically that's how I started getting like people knowing that I was a DJ. But I have another friend who he was already DJing at clubs and bars, and he would invite me like, hey, do you want to come spin for like half an hour? And I was like, sure, I'll go. And then one day it was a 2-story bar club. So the DJ that was supposed to be upstairs didn't show up. So, you know, that's, they told my friend like, hey, what can we do? And my friend was like, well, my friend, which was me, is here. He can DJ down here and I can go DJ up there. And they were like, sure. And then that's how I started DJing at bars and stuff like that. And then being at the clubs at these bars, like making drink announcements, shouting out people for their birthdays, kind of how it got me over being shy on the microphone. So whereas, like I tell people, that's basically the biggest hurdle to being an MC is getting over your fright of speaking in front of a lot of people and everyone's staring at you or looking at you because you're the only one talking. You're the loudest person because you're on the microphone.
Yeah.
So I that's how I got to DJing, but I really started to DJ because I like hip hop music. So that's why I started buying stuff and, you know, doing it just basically for me. And it kind of just blossomed into me having my own company, not only for myself, but having other DJs do events for me as well. So, I mean, it just all kind of fell into place. I like what I do. I like DJing. So kind of people started offering to pay me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, getting paid for something you love doing, it's amazing. Yeah. And I like what you said about getting over being shy on the microphone. I could not be an MC. I could not. But imagine it, all people staring at you, like waiting for something to say. No. So that's great that you can do that because I cannot.
Yeah, I mean, and basically also like my emceeing kind of is a reflection of the client, whether it's a bride and groom, a birthday party, an anniversary, or whatever it is. I like to kind of feed off of how they are. If they want to have like a party, then I bring a lot of energy and stuff. But if they just want it to be formal, just minimum announcing and stuff like that, then that's what I'll do. I tell them because the client is really in charge of everything that happens with me. I make sure that I do what they want and not do what they don't want. Make sure not only in music, but also like in emceeing, how they want the flow to go. All of that is important for me, that they also have input.
Yeah.
Because it's their event.
Right.
Especially with weddings, I tell them, we want to do what you want to do. I don't pressure them to do anything. I don't pressure them not to do anything.
Right.
I think we work together, the wedding that had piñatas. do you remember they went outside and they broke the piñatas?
Yes,
And I was
yes.
like, it's your wedding. If you want to do that, then let's do
Let's
it.
do it. I know. Yeah, that was
Yeah. So, I
interesting.
mean,
Yeah,
I tell them it's your special day. We want to do what you want to do.
yeah, that's
We
true.
get everything, all the details in advance, and have like a timeline like you have, and just kind of go according to plan. So they have very little or nothing to worry about.
Right, exactly. And that, what you said about that you do what they want you to do, brings me to my next question that, you know, there's different type of DJs, there's different type of music, you know, I like, you know, my rock en español, you like your hip hop, you know, so why do you think as a
Yeah.
DJ it's important that a couple picks a DJ that fits their style?
I think it's important because, I mean, not because I'm a DJ, but the DJ is in charge of making or breaking the party. If the DJ is playing music that nobody likes, nobody's gonna have a good time. I
No.
have my music you want to have played, and also to take into consideration who their guests are,
Mm-hmm.
because find out who, because not necessarily do their guests like the same music they like. So I
Exactly.
tell them they also want to find out like what kind of music do your friends like, what kind of music do your family like. So everyone has a good time, because my goal is to make sure at some point of the night that the youngest person in the building to the oldest person in the building is dancing at some point,
Yeah.
because I want to make sure that everyone has a good time.
Yeah.
So it's very important. Like, also, like being like if you're from a specific part of the world and you want music like Thai music, you have to make sure that your DJ can provide that.
Yeah.
They should ask questions like, can you give me some samples of what kind of music you're going to play, or things like that, so then the client can be um, that might be from a different part of the world, because it's not I mean, a lot of people are getting married from different parts of the world, and some of our older parents, grandparents are like, oh, they're from Europe, they might be from Asia or whatever, and they need to like at least felt like, oh, they play music that I understand. Whether if it's a different language or if it's a different style of music, I like to make sure that everyone at least hears some kind of music that will remind them of their past, or like, oh, I remember that, or something that makes them feel like, oh, we're being included in the party. It's not just all hip hop or rock en español.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's also true that you say like, you know, and I know you prepare with the couples and you meet with them before to talk about all the flow of the event and the songs and stuff, that they tell you if they, you know, if they will have any specific requests. I remember a wedding once that I usually you know, send the timeline and the special songs are there just for me to know, just in case. And then I go tell the DJ, okay, so we're gonna do the hora, and he's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I don't have it. I'm like, wait, what? They didn't tell you? And they're like, no. I'm like, but it's on the timeline. And so he was like, give me 5 minutes. I'm going to download it right now. So thank God for the internet. But it's also very important
Yeah.
that, you know, people tell you what they want if they want something special. Oh my God.
Yeah, and then for me, it's more important to be ready in advance, because not all venues have Wi-Fi or good Wi-Fi. So
Yeah.
it's, I mean, luckily for that DJ, he was able to do it. But if you're somewhere where you don't have a good signal and you're downloading it or playing it off your phone or whatever, and then you lose signal in the middle of the song while they're doesn't.
I
So I
know.
mean, I just I like to be prepared in advance. I don't like to leave anything to chance, because like I tell people, this is their most important day,
Yeah.
and I don't want to be the one that messes. Not it. The events don't always come
No.
out perfect, but we always shoot for perfection. That's for sure.
Yes, that's for sure. Yeah. um, Talking about the songs, Mario, I know a lot of couples usually have no idea, because it's their first time they're getting married, right? So I'm sure when you ask them like, so what song are you going to do for the processional? They're like, what? So do
Exactly.
you?
That happens a lot.
A lot, yeah. Well, and it makes sense. You're right. But do you help them through the process? Like maybe giving them suggestions of songs depending on their style?
I do. Usually by this point, I've already met with them at least once, if not twice. So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of have a feel of what kind of music they like, what kind of event they want to have. So
Mm-hmm.
I do make suggestions. And also like if they want like the traditional processional song, be like, well, I have the original one. I have one with a violin or a piano one, and I give them those kind of options. And then sometimes they want other songs. And I said, okay, well, I do usually send them like a list. Here's a list of 5 songs for your entrance. Here's the list of 5 songs for your exit. And even
Mm-hmm.
if they don't pick those songs, it kind of gets the wheel turning for them that like, oh, okay, maybe I've already thought of a different song that I might like. So that way, because sometimes, like you said, they have no idea even where to start.
No.
So I like to give them a little bit of help. Like I do make suggestions, but it's always their final word.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, but it's always good to have from us that help, right? That advice because they have no clue. And
Yeah, so sometimes we have to guide them through like all these songs from the entrance, the grand entrance, the first dance, father-daughter dance, mother of the groom dance, all of these, like give them suggestions and kind of guide them through like, oh, this is kind of how your event is going to run. And then they kind of start visualizing, what their wedding day is going to look like. And that I think gives
mm,
them excitement for them.
yeah,
Like, oh, they're already looking forward to it. Like, I know what we're going to do here, we're going to do there. And for me also, it's very important to give them peace of mind. Like I don't have to worry too much about the day of because we've already done the legwork.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's super important. And also that important not about songs, but we were talking before we started recording. It's very important that you know how to pronounce the name of the last names of everybody in the wedding party so we can say them right.
Yes. What I do usually is I have a phone meeting. The last meeting I have with them is over the phone where I play all their special songs, like entrance songs, grand entrance, ceremony, father, daughter, mother, son, all the special songs. I play the songs for them so they can hear them and they can, because some songs have different versions,
Yeah.
different artists, different. So I was like, I want to make sure I play the song that they want. And when I'm doing that meeting, I also run through all the names, all the bridesmaids, groomsmen, parents, obviously the bride and the groom, people who are going to be doing the toast, anyone who's going to be introduced.
Yeah.
I run their names by them to make sure that I say them correctly. Because I've done weddings that are from other parts of the world, and I want to make sure that I do my best to pronounce them correctly. It's just one of my things. Like I've even gone up to people before I announce them and say their name to them, like let them know like I'm going to introduce you for the toast, and I say their name and they're like, yes, that's how you say it or whatever, or oh, a little bit here, change it this or whatever, because it's very important to me to say it correctly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things that can you know it can make an awkward moment if you say somebody's name wrong, especially because everyone's going to hear it because you're on the microphone.
Oh my God, Mario, I'm an expert mispronouncing names. I am the queen. It happens to me in every single rehearsal. And some people laugh, and some people don't like it. I'm like, I'm so sorry. It's not intentional, but it's good that you have that, prepping before just to make sure everybody got their name is pronounced correctly. Yeah, Mario. And with the first dance, I was interviewing a choreographer, and we're talking about the first dance. And sometimes also couples have a big dilemma trying to pick the first dance song because it's so personal, right?
Right.
How can you help them through that? Like, I'm sure it's difficult,
Well,
but yeah.
I usually, if there's 2 different songs, even if they're like 2 different genres or one is like a dance song and the other one's like a slow song, I usually ask them, would you be interested in doing both? Whereas, and they don't dance to both songs entirely,
Right.
but I say we can do like a minute and a half, 2 minutes of one song, and then the other minute and a half or whatever of the next song. And then I tell them, you just tell me what it is they want to do. Because sometimes they choreograph, like you said, they choreograph a special dance. And this is where they end and they want to change to the next song. So then I'll pre-mix that song for them or those two songs for them. And then I'll send it to them. And then they're like, oh, we need it a little longer or a little shorter. And I'll customize it to how they want it. So then they can dance to both. And there's no need to be having an argument of what song is going to be. And I've done that quite a few times, actually, because you know, they don't agree on one song, but it's like, hey, we can make both songs into one song. And,
yeah, that's perfect.
And it works. It works. And then especially they practice with the song, dancing their choreography, and the day of their wedding, it's like everything runs smooth and everything is perfect.
It's perfect. Yeah, that's good. Mario, what's your secret of keeping that dance floor crowded? Because I know I've seen some sad floor dance at the weddings, and I'm like, sometimes it's the crowd, right? But how is your process as a DJ to like read the crowd or keep them dancing?
Well, usually when I am talking to the bride and groom, let's say, or the client, I ask them, what do you think is going to be the most popular kind of music at your party? And they tell me, and then they usually give me a list also of different kind of genres that they want during their event. And I tell them, whatever is going to be more popular for your guests is what's going to get played the most. That doesn't mean it's going to be the only thing being played. It just means that we want to make sure that more people are having fun. Let's say they give a list of 6 different genres, but only 2 genres were really keeping the dance floor full. I'll usually kind of try to stick to those 2 genres for the majority of the event. Let's say like 60% of the event, and the other 40% would be the other kind of genres that they have. Usually, like if I get like an older crowd dancing to a certain kind of music, I'll kind of be keeping an eye out on the crowd to make sure that, you know, they're having a good time, but also to see, depending on how old the crowd is, some of them might start to sit down not because they're not liking the music, is because they might be getting tired. So then I can kind of change it to the different, or like, let's say the younger crowd or a different genre kind of music, so the other people can dance, or the other kind of music can also be played. But if nobody's dancing to the other genres, I usually also tell the clients, like, I won't be sticking too much to those, like for a lot of time, because we don't want your party to be like an empty dance floor.
No.
We want to make sure that people are dancing. So paying attention and observing to what's going on the dance floor while you're playing is very important. Because you can be playing music that you like all night, but that doesn't mean that they're going to like it. So we want to make sure that they're having a good time. That's the most important thing.
That's true. That's true. Requests. How do you handle those?
I also ask the client if it's okay for me to take requests, because, and let's say they say no, I won't tell the people like, oh, they said I'm not taking requests, I can only play the music. I usually will tell them, like, I have a playlist that they provided for me, so I have to make sure I get through their list before I can play your songs. But I'll take a note of it, you know, kind of be diplomatic, like no confrontation, and there is no, or like, oh, I don't even see you standing there or anything like that. It's just, but I don't want to throw the clients under the bus either with their guests. But especially if it's on their do not play list, I'm not going to play it. And then they usually forget about it. They don't come back. But if the client says yes, there's also like the do not play list. If they ask me to play something that's on that do not play, even if I'm taking requests, I won't play it because the client had asked me not to play that kind of music, that kind of genre or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm open to taking requests. Even when I was doing bars and clubs and lounges, I take requests. And obviously, just because you request a song doesn't mean I'm going to play it right away, but I'll try to get to it eventually.
Mario, I had to ask this question. Sorry, everybody, but I had to ask. What is your take or your experience where a couple don't have a coordinator or planner there on the day, or have La Tia coordinating the wedding?
Well, to be honest, it's just, I think it's better to have no coordinator than to have like the tia or or my maid of honor or
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
that's part of the party taking care of it, because like when I need to say something or make sure that something's ready to get started, I have to run around and look for them, because they're trying to have a good time as well, whether it's getting a drink at the bar, being out in the lobby, or whatever they're doing. I have to worry about where they're at to try to find them, to
Yeah.
make sure. So that only makes my job a little harder. Whereas when we have someone like you, per se, I know that you're always in the vicinity. I don't
Right.
like, you won't be in the parking lot. You
No.
won't be, unless they request you to do something for them from over there. But I know that, and then you also, what's very important to me is communication, to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that we both communicate with each other. Or like, they tell you something, you relay it to me, or they tell me something, I relay it to you. When we come to an agreement, like, all right, this is how we're gonna do it. All right, cool, good, and we move on. But when it's usually somebody else that's part of the party, they're usually running around at the photo booth, at the bar, or wherever, and I'm like, oh, I need to find them so they can help me do this, and it's a little bit more work. Whereas if they don't have a coordinator and I'm the only one in charge, I mostly do everything on the microphone, because everyone can hear me if I speak into the microphone.
Yeah.
Um, and then sometimes, like when they have like an aunt or the best friend or whoever doing it, halfway through the event, they might have already had a little too much to drink. And sometimes they can be more of a hassle than if I didn't have to talk to them or go through them to do stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's I mean, a lot. I've done a lot of weddings for many years, and it's some things can happen.
You've seen it
It's
all. I know.
I seen some things, and I was like, I mean, and my goal is, try to move on from those things and make the party keep going, make sure they have a good time, make sure they have a good experience. Because I mean, I've seen some things and I was like, oh my goodness, like how can I recuperate the fun back into the party?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We've seen some things, even
Yeah.
in events together. Yeah. Yeah. We
Yeah.
could write a book. It'll be fun. Funny, funny, funny.
Yeah. But always the goal is to have a perfect night. That's for sure.
Of course. Yeah. And if it's not perfect, at least leave it to us to fix
Right.
those behind the scenes.
And that's what I tell people, like clients, like brides and grooms, like, oh, we don't know if we're gonna get a coordinator, and I tell them, because I can help you, like pre-planning, timeline, and a lot of those things. I go, but the day of the wedding, I have to be hosting, emceeing, and DJing, so I can't take care of little problems that you might have.
Yeah.
Whether it's, oh, I got a tear in my dress, I can't. My mom is running late. Can we give her a call? Can we find out where my sisters and brothers are for the pictures and all of that stuff? I told them I can't be running around. I mean, I can be announcing this over and over again, but then it becomes like a sideshow. Like, why does he keep calling for John and Mary to come to the front? Why does he? You're like, well,
Hey,
because
what's happening? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
told them, because I know like coordinators, they take care. I tell them they help you out with all the details, from the smallest things to the biggest of things, because they'll be there to help you out throughout the day. But some people, like, whether it's budget or they just don't feel like they need one, then but I still try to do my best the day of the wedding, like whether I have someone to rely on or help from like you, or if I'm just gonna do it by myself, or I have to find a maid of honor or whoever they think I should talk to
That
do
must be
stuff.
hard. Yeah. Especially if it's
Yeah.
a big venue. Imagine, like, those big ballrooms, like, where is this girl? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
because you look out there and there's a couple hundred of people and they're all dressed to the nines, so you can't be like, oh, the one with the black dress. There's probably like 10 people out there with
Uh-huh.
black
Uh-huh.
dresses.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny. Yeah. And it happens to me too when it's time for the toast, that I usually try to gather everybody, like, okay, we're going to do the toast in 5 minutes. Sometimes I cannot find them. And I can, you can, because you're playing music, you can go to the restaurant, like, where's these people at?
Yeah,
But
exactly. And that's what I tell them. Like, it's because I mean, yes, I'm making announcements and stuff, but I can't be calling people over the microphone all night, because then it
no.
doesn't look nice. It doesn't sound nice. It doesn't look nice.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. Mario, you have and some people might not know this, but within the packages that you offer, there are different tiers, right? And some of them include like lighting or up lighting. Tell us a little bit about what your packages look like. Yeah.
So like the basic package would be like sound, obviously me DJing, the wireless microphones, and dance lighting. Then we have like a lighting package where we can uplight the whole building to the color of their choice. And also we can do a monogram, which would be like, let's say we can put like a heart, like or we can make a custom monogram with their names, their initials, the date, stuff like that. And we also have like photo booths that we can provide, help, like what the venue that we were provided in the other room, we can help them out with that. And then usually I tell the clients when they go through me, I'll be in charge of everything. They don't have to worry about, hey, let me go find out when the photo booth is going to open. Let me find out, like, because all of that will be on my timeline because it's mine.
It's yours, right?
But I've had it also where they hire, you know, like, oh, I found somebody else, and that's perfectly fine. And the photo booth wasn't ready at the time it was supposed to be. And I usually check with all the vendors, whether it's the caterer, whether it's going to be the champagne toast being served, whether the photo booth, all of these things that are supposed to start at a certain time, I always check with them in advance to make sure that I announce it because it's ready to go. I don't want to announce something and they're like 5-10 minutes behind, you know? So I would go and check on this photo booth person, and he couldn't get his printer to work. So I was like, but you're supposed to start now. And he was like, oh, they're going to bring me one. And I said, okay, how long is it going to take? 45 minutes. And I was like, oh, that's not going to work.
That's not going to work.
Yeah. Like, I go, okay, well, I mean, there's nothing I can do for him. So basically I just told because the clients always look to me like, well, aren't we supposed to be doing the photo booth? So I go and tell them like, oh, he's having some issues. He's going to let me know what time he's going to be ready to go so we can start it. So I don't want to announce it. Everyone goes over there and there's nothing to do because it's not working.
Right. Yeah.
So, but then, you know, I told them, so they're like, oh, we're supposed to get it for 3 hours. So I told the gentleman, I said, well, when you start, you're going to owe them 3 hours because you didn't start at the time you were supposed to. So, and he was like, oh yeah, I understand. So finally he got it working, and well, they brought him a printer. And I know things happen, but you always have to be prepared. And sometimes they don't show up with enough time for them to set up and do a little test run and then be like, well, something happened. I need to fix this or fix that.
Yeah.
I usually show up at least 2 hours early, set everything up, light test, sound test, mic test, all the tests, the ceremony test, all of those things get done before the doors even open, before anyone shows up, unless people show up super early, which sometimes they do. But if the doors are opening at 4, say, I'm already done testing everything before anyone shows up.
Yeah, and
but
I
that's
know
just
that.
the way.
Yeah, and I know that, and that's why I think we love working with each other. And what thing that you said, Mario, about like checking with everybody, if you hire a coordinator, I'll be checking that and then communicating to Mario. And if the photo booth is late, I'm gonna be like, so all those things behind the scenes, we're always taking care of all of them for you guys. And I do know that, and something I really love about this, you get the venue with enough time to test, and if something is not working, you have something in your car, you know, you're always prepared.
Yeah, and I always like to be prepared so that way I don't have to stress.
Yeah.
If I show up early, take care of everything ready, everything's ready on time or before, and then I'm just relaxing and waiting.
Yeah.
Instead of running late. And like, even if something were to happen, I know that I'm so early that I'll have time to try to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I don't do the test before we're supposed to do the test with the officiant. I've already done my own sound test to make sure that the microphone works, that the sound level is high enough or not too high, not too low, and all of that stuff. So.
Yeah, exactly. Mario, 2 more questions, fun questions, so people can get to know you a little better. What is your favorite food?
My favorite food is mole. You know mole?
Mole, I know mole, but there's different type of moles.
Oh yeah, there's different kinds of moles, but I like mole negro. Well, my family's from Oaxaca. I just had some over the weekend, some tamales de mole negro. If my mom makes it, I can eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Hasta que se acabe.
Hasta que se acabe. Yeah, I love it. I tried some moles that I wasn't very fan of, but I tried some others that I'm like, I can eat this again. So I guess it's depending on the type.
There's probably like, yeah, there's different kinds. I would like to say maybe there's like a dozen or 15 different kinds of moles.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, I've had maybe like 7 or 8 of them. There's like the green one. Have you ever seen the green one?
No, not green.
Yeah, that one's okay. Oh, well, it's okay. I like it. I'll eat it again.
Okay.
But it's not my favorite.
So mole negro is your favorite?
Yeah. Yes, mole negro is my favorite.
And how about your favorite drink or cocktail or?
My favorite drink is tequila and orange juice. No, and a lime. Alcoholic drink.
Yeah,
tequila and orange juice. Yeah. Lime. No, what is that? No grenadine or whatever that red stuff they put on the tequila sunrises.
Tequila sunrise.
Yeah, not that. No tequila, so just tequila and orange juice and a lime. That's
never tried that.
Yeah. I love orange juice.
Okay.
I love orange juice, and I put up with the tequila.
So it's a little better, haha.
Yeah.
I like that. Mario, where can people find you?
On my website, it's at www.djmxment.com, and on Instagram at djmxm. It's like the letter M as in Mario, X as in X-ray, and M as in Mario again.
And I will put it on the description down here so you guys can just click on it and get to Mario easily. Mario, anything else you wanted to add?
Thank you.
For couples looking for DJs?
Well, it's very important that if you find a DJ that you like, that you sign their contract and book them as early as possible. Mm-hmm. And not just DJs, but all vendors, because if you like them, that means other people are gonna like them. And especially like in my case, when people see me, they wanna hire me. And I can't do 2, 3, 4 events on the same day. So I tell them we can do it. It just won't be me personally because I've already been booked for that date. It would be my next DJ or one of my other DJs that would do it. But sometimes they like, oh, we would prefer if it were you. And unfortunately, I've already signed a contract with somebody else, so I can't be in 2 places at once.
Yeah.
So I would recommend if they find a DJ, caterer, event planner that they like and would like to book, that they should book them in advance easily, at least 6 months, if not a year or more. Mm-hmm. Because especially right now with the pandemic, a lot of my almost all my events from 2020, from March to the end of the year are being moved. I've only had 2 people cancel, so everyone else is already moving their events, and I've already told people who had hired me, but and the first person that moved their wedding to next year on a specific day, they got me. There was another person who had booked me personally, but they wanted that same day. I was like, I'm no longer available for that day because other people have already moved their appointment their wedding to that day. So it's tough times for everyone, and I think it's going to have to be a little compromise from all parties, because I do my best to keep their DJ with them, but if they move it, because I've already had also clients who have moved their wedding from April this year to the end of this year. Now they're having to move it again. So then a couple of them already lost their DJ per se, because he's already been booked for somebody else that day. So it's going to take a little bit of let them know what the situation is, and hopefully, for the most part, they understand. Like, we know everyone's having to deal with this, but if you were planning your wedding, I would recommend no later than 6 months, maybe up to a year or more in advance, if you find someone you like.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
And then also, like, they can. I get a lot of people who ask me if I know planners, if I know photographers, if I know caterers. So I also would let clients know, if you're looking for other vendors, to ask a vendor that you've already hired if they can give you an idea of you know, if you're looking for a photographer, stuff like that, because we're around each other all the time.
All the time.
Every time we're at event, I see photographers that I worked with before, or I meet new ones. I see event planners, coordinators, and all that. Every event that I'm at, for the most part. So, you know, they can steer you in the right direction if you're looking. I mean, obviously, we won't be able to tell you like details if they're available on your day or how much they charge, but
of course,
we can give you their information. You can call them, email them, kind of lead you in the right direction.
Yeah, yeah. And you also know what vendors are good and what vendors are not that good. We know people.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I mean, not everyone is easy to work with.
Yeah, and not everybody fits your style. So that's also important that before you book any of your vendors, you talk to them and see if you have that, you know, rapport, because you're gonna be working together for a long time.
Yes, especially like I meet with them easily 2 to 3 times in person. Mm-hmm. So I kind of try to get a sense of their style, how they want to have their party go, so I can deliver that.
Yeah.
And if you don't meet with your vendors, then it's difficult to have a strong expectation of what you're going to get.
Yeah. 100%.
Because if you never met with them, or it was just over email, you're like, this is not the person I've been emailing for 7 months.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So meet with your vendors, everybody, and do a tasting, please, with your caterer before you hire.
Or even bartenders testing.
Yes, test everything.
Have a designated driver.
Yeah.
Test everything.
Please. Well, Mario, thank you very, very much. This was very informative. I think it's going to help a lot of couples when they're going through the process of hiring a DJ. Thank you again for your time. And I hope we can get to work together soon, because this COVID is driving me crazy.
Yes. Well, I know we already had a few of them planned that had to be postponed to next year. So hopefully eventually sooner rather than later, we'll get back together and start delivering as close as perfect events as possible.
Exactly. I like that. Thank you, Mario, so much. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Karla. Have a good day. Take care.
You too. Bye. Gracias for tuning in. If this video was valuable for you, make sure to like and comment below. And of course, subscribe. See you next week. Bye.